something that you can see the best of the collections which Pakistan own. To be, if I tell the secret, is that I was told by the many, the one who work in this line, that you own actually nearly something around 100,000 of pieces of those Buddhist heritage and Buddhist art and artifacts. What we see in those museum, be in a museum in Karachi, be in Islamabad, in a museum in Swat Valley, or museum in Peshawar, and as well as the museum here in the Lahore, you will see some of the good pieces, I guess, but I don't know whether it's a good in terms of what they got it now, or maybe they have even a better one, still under storage. So this is something that it is very proud to see all those things. Being a Buddhist monk myself, I have been inspired by the Buddha's teaching, Buddha's life history, and when I'm seeing those stories in the 3D model, in kind of a real sort of this kind of a carving, this kind of a art mode, you will see that what we have learned from the text is something make us very close to our heart and our belief system. So again, I'm very honored to be invited to give a talk from this esteemed Lahore Museum here, and then I'm informed that this is a live, a kind of a global talk in a way that it looks like it's even have to be really responsible in what I speak. Generally, when I speak, I never think with this camera in front of me, make me think hard, because I have to say with authority. Well, talking about the topic here, when we say that Buddhist heritage in Pakistan, Pakistan Buddhist heritage, I would say that I wouldn't know that much more than you guys here who own these great civilizations, who own all these artifacts and the ancient, what do you call this, archaeological and museum pieces here. If I tell about all those what have been seen during my visit time to time in Pakistan, it will be like carrying coals to Newcastle. So you already know that, so I don't have to go through that. But having said that, this is the opportunity for me to come here again this year. Actually, this year I have been here. This is my second time of the year, I guess, because last May, I think I was here, but I'm not in Lahore, but I was in Islamabad as a guest of your government to celebrate Vaishak, which is a very, very something like an amazing occasion when I talk to the outside world, especially when I talk to Buddhists, when I talk to my colleagues in different world, when they ask that, yeah, I have been to Pakistan, and I was there to speak at a Vaishak celebration, and they just raised their eyebrows. What? Why Pakistani government celebrating Vaishak? It is a Buddha's birthday. Isn't that Pakistan government is Islam? But why they are celebrating the Buddhist birthday? Then I say, well, this is something we have to appreciate the spirit of Pakistani people. And I also told that it is not only the being a Pakistani or Muslim, because do you know that in every global state, for example, in 1960s, by the General Secretary of United Nations, U Thant, who was a Burmese General Secretary, and in his time, there was a big cooperation going on, and he suggested that the Buddha's birthplace in Nepal, the Lumbini, when he went there, he just cried, seeing the poor management, seeing that place is so run down, and nobody take care. And he just, saw that and then cried buckets. And when he went back to the United Nations, he immediately called all the nations that we have to do something about this place. And that became a very, very initial project of the United Nations to organize something in the Buddha's birthplace or to take care of the Buddha's place. It is not a UNESCO heritage now. It is even given the more importance that. And in that support, who knows that Pakistan has been a great supporter for that resolution in the United Nations. It is not only the Pakistan being nice to the Buddhists, but they have been doing whatever they can in their role as a member of the United Nations, in the role of the custodian of all this Buddhist heritage in your countries. So they have been doing a lot. So when I tell the stories that how fortunate we are to have all those, our heritages preserved and well kept in their country called Pakistan, then they said, really? They have never known them. So this is something the media have to work hard. And then I guess that with this no costless modern media, we'll try to correct all those misinformations we are having around the world. So, Pakistan being a Muslim country doesn't mean that we hate Buddhism. We hate Buddhists. The religion is our kind of a way of our belief, our faith system. But at the same time, when we are talking about our humanity, we are same brother and sisters. Looking at the faces here, everyone, although the Pakistani government gave us a very, very high security. And then I said that, why you have to give us so security? And so you are important. You are VIP persons. So I always make that really. And when I become a VIP, I just think that I am a very idiot person because you have given me everything and I can't do anything myself. So I become idiot in a way. So VIP, in another pun, will be the very idiot person. So we have been well taken care of the things. And the way we have been seeing all those things was just amazing. This time I'm here with the Thai authority, especially from the Ministry of Culture of Thailand. This is the first attempt we are trying to establish in terms of to explore the Pakistani Buddhist heritage outside of Pakistan itself. I have learned, I'm sure, that you have been doing this kind of a lot of things, displaying your exhibitions in different countries. And then in the West, time to time, I have been seeing that. And sometimes I flew all the way to Western countries just to see that. Because I know the Pakistan also close here, but in old days, sometimes to travel to Pakistan, they always raise their eyebrows. Why you are going to Pakistan? So sometime in order to, for the ease, when I knew that there is the exhibitions of Gandhara in Paris, for example, in here and there, I used to fly around just to see that. Because it's really touched my heart as a Buddhist monk. It's really make me think, after all the Buddhist texts I have learned through my heart, and then when I see those sculptures, when I see those images, when I see those art, it just make it so lively. It just make that, it's just floating out after all the story, like I am going back to the past. I'm going back to the time of the Buddha. I just feel like I'm just seeing the real Buddha at the time. It is kind of traveling in the past. So this is the experience I always get when I facing with this Gandhara art. So our visit this time is trying to establish something that I already got that impressions. So I just hope that I can share that kind of impression with other Buddhists and other kind of knowledge seeker, peace seeker people around the world. So that's why Thai government has been assigned us this time to come and exercise the possibility. So it is not a kind of a dream or talking anymore. It is kind of real acting at the moment. So the Minister of Culture has been designated the Director General of the Religious Affairs from Thailand and designated the Director of the National Museum of Thailand and then all the related, the curator and all the staff from Ministry of Cultures. Even myself is given the authority as a part of being representing the Ministry of Culture to come and kind of giving, exchanging the courtesy call and then trying to establish that a very key step in order to bring some of the artifacts to put the Gandhara art back in Thailand. in order to promote what you call this Buddhist heritage of Pakistan. Because it is very difficult. Even you have been opened up a lot. I have just heard that the visa-free the visa-free program is already valid now. We were told that it's very easy to come, but it's still people sometimes ask twice. Pakistan? Let me think first. So, but I have asked my, the ambassador here. They say, ambassador said, that's very fine. It's a very nice country. You don't have to think twice when you come to Pakistan. But it's very difficult to kind of really send that message to the ordinary people, but we are trying best. So in that effort, this is the first time we are trying to put that, okay, if you are afraid, if you are fear to go to Pakistan, we will bring Pakistan to you. So that's how we are doing this project, is that we are taking a bit of Pakistan, a bit of your heritage, and then show in the heart of a Buddhist countries. Bangkok, Thailand, is considered as the heart of a Buddhism these days in this modern age. So we will put there, we will put for the access of all the Buddhists around Asia. So they will give, they will have a chance to visit the virtual Pakistan at least. And then at least they will see some of the artifacts, which we are hoping that something 100 or 200, I'm not sure. It depends on the budget, it depends on the management, everything's going on. We will work it on hard on that. But it will give a kind of something, kind of an entree, I guess. If you have to have a big meal, you'll have to have a nice entree. So this nice entree will really open up people's mind and people's knowledge about Pakistan cultures, and especially the heritage you own it. So this is the main reason we are here, in a way that we were assigned by the Thai government to come and sneak out, to look at all your collections, whether you permit or not. We have done that. And then we will do the window shopping at the moment, so which pieces is nice to borrow, to get a loan from your country. At least the people can experience, appreciate, which I have just told that how I feel that. So this is the whole concept we are here, the purpose here. But as I am very grateful for the Lahore Museum, the director, madam, and the deputy director here putting this together in a very short notice and asking me to speak something, to share some of my experience and knowledge with you guys here about the topic I was given, the Buddhist heritage of Pakistan, a bridge to peace and harmony. So having said that, I wouldn't go detail because this is a very short presentation. I will make it. I wouldn't go detail in terms of a Buddhist heritage itself. As I say, I don't want to carry the coals into Newcastle. So I'm not going to talk about anything which you already have it. But I want to talk something which is out of box, I guess. So being an anthropologist myself, which is I'm good at it. So I'm doing my thing because this talk was not even myself, I haven't prepared, to be honest with you. So I'm just talking out of my, my brain. It's just an instant moment. Observation, what I made about the Buddhist heritage in Pakistan is something, not only all the sculptures, this which is tangible, which is visible, and so, but I would like to ask all the Pakistani scholars and intellectuals to think twice or think more deeper. I'm sure that you are very proud of having all those things in your countries. But if you can explore something more than what you are just being proud and having all those objects, there is a more you can really explore, and there is a more something you can do more than that, you got it. So this is some of my observation I would like to offer to you. What is the Buddhist heritage in Pakistan? So one first point, what I see that when I ask about this question, the Buddhist heritage in Pakistan, what I see is that the first thing is that the authenticity and antiquity of those heritages. Okay? Why I'm saying that authenticity and antiquity? Because it is about Pakistan's Buddhist heritage is among the most authentic and ancient in the world. When we see, for example, all the Buddhist sites, for example, in India, we have all the ruins where the Buddhas was born in Nepal, Buddhas were enlightened in the Buddha Gaya, Buddhas was here and there in the Savatthi, the monastery. Of course, people go around there as a pilgrimage, as a spiritual tour. But what they see there is the ruins. What they see there is all the archaeologically kind of improvised ruins, even, which I don't know, archaeologists will agree with me with that or not. Because what you make is that you are trying to imitate what was it before based on all the facts and figure, but you got it. So sometimes you make it even the bricks and stones looks like the old one, but the real original one might be hidden somewhere. But people, for the one who doesn't have this archaeological knowledge, you just have the imagination of what it sounds like, what it should be. But this is an archaeological kind of creations of all those things. And then people have to imagine, oh, this is the time where Buddha was used to, this is the Buddha's room, Mula Gandakuti, isn't it? Oh, this is where Buddha taught, isn't it? So we just have to imagine based on the text and based on the guide, I guess. If you have a good guide, you have a good storytelling guide, they can tell you kind of, make you kind of really got into the story and then those things. But otherwise, you just said, oh, okay. But I call this authenticity and kind of antiquity here in Pakistan is that this is the first and foremost place you can imagine the Buddha. Because in the time of the Buddhas, in fact, as you may know, Buddha did not kind of encourage us to worship him. Now, Buddha did not encourage to worship him. There is a Buddha's words. Buddha says that if you want to see me, you have to see the Dharma. It means that if you really want to taste what Buddha looked like, so you have to practice his teaching, the Dharma. And once you know the Dharma, once you understand the Dharma, and then you can be a Buddha yourself. So that was the son of a Buddha's teaching. But this is very philosophical. Something like that, if you really want to know me, you have to think of what I say. Well, it's good, but in order to think of what somebody has said, it might be okay for 1 week, 2 weeks. Then something comes up, and then there are so many other good sayings in the world. So it may just disappear. So in that sense, the continuity of Buddhism in the old days was based on oral traditions. We didn't have any images. And then once it was an oral tradition, again, I guess that we have seen in some of the social media, they try that even in this hall, if I say something, and then you have to relay that message from one to another, by the end of this hall, I don't know the message will be the same or not. It might be totally different. So this is an oral tradition. So in that sense, for the 3-4 years after the time of the death of the Buddha, the things has been kept. And then what we have heard is something, compared to 2,000 years, 200-300 might be very trustable, but still, this is the first time that people heard and that made that story of the Buddha in a very visible, what you call a three-dimensional kind of depiction. So this is happened in Pakistan. You see? I don't know, we are talking about this image of Buddha, but in all the Buddhist texts, I have a big question which I want to leave with you. Because when I study Buddhist texts, the story of the Buddha himself, life of Buddha, what we see here in Pakistan, is how it come to be that story, I'm not sure. Because the original text, as I said, it was an oral tradition, and it was first sort of recorded in a palm leaf from the oral tradition to the text, tangible text. It's happened in Sri Lanka around 4 years, around the BC, around the beginning of a common era, or even the 1 century BC. That is around that period that in Sri Lanka, they started to transform the oral tradition to the to the inscriptions called the palm leaf inscriptions. That is the oldest recognition I can get it. But I was born in Nepal, as she has told me. And I am even from the Sakyan family, which believe that we might have a descendancy from the direct line of the Buddha. And in my own home, in my own family, there's a lot of rituals, there are a lot of family customs, which we have been kind of, come down from generation to generations. And when I look at those, what we do, practice in my family, and then when I read the Buddhist text, Life of Buddha, which were written in Sri Lanka, I have a few big questions. Okay? So whatever it is written, what we call is a world Buddhist kind of a Life of Buddha, might be a Sri Lankan version, Sri Lankan influences. For Buddhism, it's fine, because Buddha is a very universal person. And what you got it in the Pakistan heritage, I would call that is a Life of Buddha in the Pakistani version, or Gandhara version. to be correct, it's a Gandhara version. But at the moment, how many people know Gandhara? But I will say that is the Pakistani version of the Life of Buddha. But in my own family, we have our own different stories and detail. It's a different stories. So that was only about, let's say that 500 years after the death of the Buddha, we started to have text. And then in the 1st, 2nd century, the Mahayana text developed. Because in that Tripitaka, what's that? In Theravada, it's the original one. In the Tripitaka, the Life of Buddha was not fully written as a text. It was mentioned in a different discourses, different sutras here and there. When it's relevant, say that somebody asked that why Buddha is doing that, and Buddha made, oh yes, when I was young, I used to do that. So it is kind of bit and pieces where Buddha tell his own story. Yes, the Lotus Sutra is very later, you see. So it was like that. So it was not a full from the birth to death as we are seeing at the Life of Buddha these days. So it's a very fragments here and there. And then people later on, they are trying to put this fragment together and trying to make story. So that is the original, most original one, which happened in the 1st century BC. And around the 1st and 2nd century AD, the Common Era CE, then what happened is that there is a monk called Aswaghosa, a poet, a Brahmin poet, who is very well known and well versed in the Veda. He became a Buddhist and he became a monk, and he got this very attached to his teaching, and then he started to write a poetry about a life of Buddha. I don't know where he get his inspiration, but it was about 500, 600 years after the death of Buddha, and in the north of India, then we got this text called Buddha Charitra. And where you can find the life of Buddha in a more kind of smooth way from the birth until his death, until his the distribution of his the ashes and so and so. And then after another 100 years, what you mentioned, it's around the 2nd century, 3rd century, then there is another discourses, it's called Lalita Vistara. And Lalita Vistara is a totally different text. As I said, in the original one, what they call Theravada or Tripitaka, they talk about a real kind of a very tangible figure as the Buddha's own verse. He retold his own story. But in the Buddha Charitra, 100 years later, somebody trying to compile in a very poetic, very kind of emotional figure. Then once in another 100 years, it taken to the different level. Lalita Vistara is kind of more kind of telling the same story, more divine, more supernatural, more kind of extraordinary. So this is the one. So this is just to give you a background. But I'm questioning to all the scholars, the statue here, the Gandhara civilization here, is something, when I read it, all the text, I don't know how you know that it is a 1st century, 2nd century, that is out of my knowledge. I'm an anthropologist and I'm not an archaeologist. But if I believe that, so I got a problem. Whoever made those story, all those images, where they get inspiration? Because generally we think it has to have a text, then you carve according to the text, or you might improvise a little bit here and there, but you need to have a story. But the story here, what you see, it is before you have those stories. So, it's a question. I don't know whether Asaghosa, one who wrote the Buddha Charitra, is inspired by the Gandhara civilization. That is, I can't answer. I have to live with all the historian. I have to live with the archaeologists. Because when you look at the lot of inscriptions, lot of the images here, I have learned that in many stone sculptures, you have Korosti inscriptions embedded and inscribed here and there. And then if you read that Korosti inscriptions, most of the information you get from those stone pieces is that they will tell who is the donor, name of the donor of that pieces, and when it was carved, when it was given. So you have a very actual dating and the donors. But the question I'm asking, why? Why have to be this story? And then where did get that story from? Which is, I want to leave it as a question for everyone here. So the whole idea of authenticity and antiquity, by the timeline, it is undisputable truth. So that is one thing of the Pakistani Buddhist heritage, I would say that. Another, it has a unique 3D presentations. If you go to all these Buddhist countries, be it Burma, be it Thailand, be it Sri Lanka, be it any other countries, what we see is that we have a text. Better than you is that we got a text, you got a sculptures. So my question is that, where is your text, to create that sculptures? But we got a text, we don't have the images. But we have, at most we can find is that mural paintings. And then even that mural paintings is not vividly given all the story like what you have in the 3D presentation here in Pakistan. So this is very unique in terms of a study. Because what you see in a Buddhist country, you don't have that detail. You have a very kind of some important event of the life of Buddha is presented in the mural paintings. But here in Pakistan, you have this very earlier, this 3D presentation, kind of a three-dimensional depictions of those stories is vividly and very cleverly made out. So in that sense, this is very unique in that sense. Is that before all the Buddhist cultures are developed, this is a kind of prior to all those Buddhist cultures. So this is one of the things I have to live with the idea of the importance of the Buddhist heritage. You got it here. And terms about art and architectures, of course, this is again very important in terms of innovation you have there. Because in art and architectures, of Buddhist art and architectures, what I got as a Buddhist in Thailand, maybe it's go back to about 1,000 years, of course. That is I think that is already ancient, is already and very, very proud to have those. But when we look at our Buddha images there, be it Sri Lanka, be it Burma, be it anywhere, it is idealistic. It is idealistic. We created all Buddha based on our imagination. So it is very far from realistic what you got it here. So the whole idea of creating Buddha image in a realistic way, in some way, it was banned or it was not practiced in rest of the Buddhist countries. So what happened here, I don't know. Because, for example, in Thailand, for sure in Thailand, I can tell you frankly, that the whole development of what I call this realistic Buddha image was just started about 200 years ago by the King Rama IV when he was a monk. He has a big difficulty, have to kind of communicating and have relating the idea of teaching of the Buddha and then the Buddha himself, because Buddha is always idealistic. The ear is very long. The finger is, generally our finger is not equal. But in every Buddhist, the Buddha images, finger is equally, the length of each finger is the same. So you can imagine, if our fingers are the same length, I'm going to pick up the things. I don't know how it works. They never think in the real functionality. So it was given kind of very idealistic based on the text. Buddha's hand is so perfect like that. Buddha's eyes is like a kind of a deer eyes. Buddha's the kind of chest is like a lion chest. So giving all the similes. So when they put this thing together, sometimes it wouldn't be even a human, you see. So it is very idealistic. But before those idealistic images emerge in the world, you already started this idea of a three-dimensional realistic Buddha. So this is something, a Buddhist heritage, you got it in Pakistan where no one has developed that. This is one of the things in art and architectures. And of course, architectures means that all the, how they live, what is their life, what they eat, you know, what the tools and the civilization, what they use. You can see in every detail all those things, which you can see in the text, which you can imagine from this idealistic idea. So this is something you should be very proud of that. And again, in terms of a Buddhist idea, the whole idea of a Mahayana Buddhism, which is an extension of original Buddhism, and then make it more kind of appeal to the people, because the original Buddhism is very monastic based. Like me, I have to be taken care by the people. If I have to live by myself, I don't know where I'm going to get the food, because I'm not allowed to cook for myself. So that's why in the morning, I get my arms round, I get my bowl, I just walk the street, and people give me a food. I'm a beggar, actually. My profession is a beggar. So that's how I get food. But so, it's just sometimes, if you don't have a people who can, who really look after me, I don't know, then I won't be able to become a monk. I will die of the starvation, I guess. No. If I'm so tough with the world, so dedicated my life with that. So it's impossible. So 500 years or so after the death of the Buddha, the new idea came. It's more kind of appealing to the lay householder life. And that is what we call the extension of Buddhism. I don't want to call it that a division of Buddhism. Because if you say that it's a school, a division in like any other religion, we fight each other. But in Buddhism, we don't fight between all different schools of Buddhism, different lineages of Buddhism. It is extensions how we apply. So original was a monastic-based Buddhism. Then it was more extended to a more appealing to the general household building or the lay people. And then in another 500 years, what we call Vajrayana, even make it that not only the life household, even in the busy life. So in the kind of Vajrayana Buddhism, one of the teachings is that if you really want to experience a nirvana, the ultimate liberations, you can't really experience by this monkhood. Because monkhood is designed for that. So if you really want to experience the peace, the true peace, you have to be indulged in all sensual pleasure, just as you do it. And then while you are surrounded by all this pleasure, but you should, able to reject that with your full understanding. You see? Which is, I'm not practicing that because I'm trying to create all my surrounding is peace. No sensual kind of indulgence, no sensual urge for me. So that is monastic. But the later Vajrayana saying that no. You have to live in this busy life, full of the whole main, all the supermarkets, all those busy capitalist sort of idea. You can live it there. But at the same time, your mind is not diluted by any of those what you see around that. That is a true challenge. That is a true liberation, what you call this happiness and peace. So you see, that is a different development of what you call Buddhism. And this, what I call the second Mahayana Buddhism and Vajrayana Buddhism, Pakistan is the home of that. Pakistan is where you start those two ideas. Not China. They started here in Pakistan. So this is another thing. Mahayana Buddhism and Vajrayana Buddhism. There's a Padmasambhava, one who introduced Buddhism to Tibet. It was said that he was a local Pakistani guy, went to study in Nalanda. and he became the Buddhist missionary establishing Buddhism in Tibet. So this is something that is very important of Buddhist heritage. You got it here. We have an imagination, but you have a proof. You have this three-dimensional images to tell the story. And of course, another point is that when you come and see those things in Buddhist heritage here, you will be able to imagine what they call complete history or narrative of Buddhist life, or Buddha's life, which is, I said, it is not like what we have it on other places. We have a text, we have a very late mural paintings, but not like what you see it here. So all the story, in a sense that you can see the story. The other day I was in the Sawat Museum, and I saw one piece, very interesting. I guess that is an original piece, even the authentic piece before the Gandhara civilizations. That piece is that when the story tells that when Buddha went up in the heaven to teach his mother in the Tusita Bhuvana, in the Tusita heaven, and then when he come down to the earth, it is actually the day happened during the October. So we do have that rituals practice. When he come down to the earth, there was a tree kind of ladder. The Buddha come in the middle one, and there has a left and right ladder. And that pictures were depicted, that was carved in that Swat Valley. And you will see that in other pictures, in every other country, you will have Buddha is descending from that ladder. But in that very piece, there was no Buddha, there's only the footprint. And people down there is worshipping. So it means that that piece should be before the belief that you can carve the Buddha. Because originally, we are not allowed to carve Buddha. We believe that it is not, Buddha cannot be carved because it is so perfect for us to carve him. So that sense, everything is presented in symbolically, and that use I see in the Swat Valley. So this kind of idea is that you can see the complete history from the prior to kind of Buddhist art and architectures until all the teachings, how it developed to the Vajrayana, as we call, sometimes I call it MTV Buddhism. Of course, it is another musical channel, Mahayana, Theravada, and Vajrayana, MTV. So this is the origin of what you can see, all the story of MTV here in Pakistan, Buddhist art here. Again, you can see from the Buddhist history here, the heritage here is that universal artistic expressions. As I said earlier, it is something that everyone can enjoy. When I am here on my presence, people people tend to make it kind of more focused on religious. But again, although I am a religious man, but I don't put that emphasis on the religion per se. Because for me, religion is only matter when we really practice it. Religion is not a subject of talking. Religion is not a kind of intellectual sort of fantasy. Religion is not something that we play around in terms of logic and philosophy. Religion is something which can transform us. Transform from the suffering one to be a happy one. Transform from some of the poorest to the rich one. Transform from the bad habit to the good habit. Transform to the selfish to the selfless. So this is what we have to practice. So in that sense, you can see that this art expression here is that very universal, that you can see that a man who called Siddhartha or Buddha, what he did in his whole life is something that is very universal. It is not a Muslim, it is not a Buddhist, it is not a Christian. It is a one human who can do a lot to change this world. And this is the story you have given to the world. Of course, now you are Muslims. Now you are influenced by Islam. But this is something that your ancestors has been carried on. It was something that I have learned from your indigenous cultures as well. So this is something I would see that whole idea of a Buddhist heritage, you got it here. Lastly, I would say that another point is that a Buddhist heritage is something that it is a cradle of global education and innovation. Whether you have realized those or not, based on the text I study, When Buddha was sick, whenever Buddha feels sick, he has his own physician called Jivaka, Dr. Jivaka, Komarabhacha. And where he educated from? He was graduate from Takshila. And what he graduated on? He graduated on medicine, science of medicine. And what is his skill? It was said in the text that he was even able to make a brain surgery. So this was the innovation, this was the knowledge you once owned in Pakistan. Even now, we have, developed so much in this kind of medical science. But when it comes to the brain surgery, we have to think twice. But at the time, this gentleman, doctor, physician called Jiva Komarabhaja, learned all those knowledge from here in Pakistan. They have all this Angulimala, who is very famous in terms of the archery and the skill in using the sword and so, also here. You have a mathematician here. You have an astrologer here. You have the astronomy here. It's all the 18 sciences was mentioned in the Buddhist text was taught in this Takasila. And the story, when they talk, it is not like a university like Nalanda, whatever. It is even prior to the university. It's an independent education center run by every expert. And the people just come there. In the text, some of the independent institutions, they have, some of the texts, they said 84,000 teachers, 84,000 students. In some of the another institution, they said they have 3,000, 8,000. So this is the place, seed of knowledge, seed of very innovative knowledge here. So I guess that when you talk about the Buddhist heritage in Pakistan, don't narrow down only to the stones. We all say that every stone speaks. Of course, I'm hearing that story, but you have something beyond that. You have to dig and find where that civilization lost. What happened to those knowledges? So that is, I will say that my sort of observation for the Buddhist heritage. But again, one of the subtitle of this topic is about peace and harmony. Again, along this heritage already take a long time, so I'll be very shortened with these two ideas. When we say that a bridge to peace and harmony, just imagine that when we talk about the peace, what do we mean by peace? These days, peace is very politicized. These days, peace is very politically correct. These days, people see that a peace and conflict, peace versus conflict, violence, injustice, for example. Again, from the Islamic point of view, you said that the word Islam itself is a peace, isn't it? So what's the peace then? When we trying to see the peace in every word, every language, every religion, but why there is no still peace there? So this is something that are very odd. We are talking about the peace. These days, the peace becoming a greeting word. Peace, high, peace, state of high, peace to you. You can see if you're in a lot of ways, peace to you. Or sometimes, rest in peace. I don't know, what does it mean? Of course, that time you're already resting, you wouldn't be struggling for sure, but rest in peace. But the true peace from Buddhist point of view is that rest in peace at the here and moment, here and now. You don't have to wait until you buried down in a grave there and say that R.I.P. there. The Buddhist idea is you have to be rest in peace now. We are talking about the inner peace. We are talking about our mind. How do we adjust to the surroundings? Now, if you go out here now, out of this museum, the traffic is so mad. If you go to passing by all the shopping malls, people are buzzing around there. So, you want to be one of that mad people, or you want to see that and distance yourself and then see just as it's going, how, you can imagine that's how these mad people, capitalists is going around, running around for this something, and then they say that, oh, I'm suffering, oh, so very tired, and saying that. Who make you tired? Who asks you to go around, run around all those things? There's a new brand of phone. There's a new brand of a cloth. There's a new brand of who asked you to buy all this? Who asked you to follow? Are you just trying to chase, and then say that, come back home, oh, so tired. You lost your peace. If you just know that, yeah, there's a nice thing, but I still have it. I'm still using this my own thing. You see, you can rest in peace there instead of, going around all this buzz of this traffic, all those pollutions, all those malls. Wherever you can adjust yourself. I'm sure that here, everyone is here who is listening. If you are not in peace, you can listen here because you are already looking at your clock. You are already saying, I have to go there. I have to meet that. So you can't hear any word. But if you say that, okay, heck it. I have an appointment, I'll be delayed because already this talk is already delayed. It is announced at 2 o'clock, but the time is moving. So we started 2:40. But we are still happy. At least say that, it's still happening this, not cancel anyway. So you see, you'll have all this positive thinking and seeing that. That is one way of looking at a peace. Otherwise, we will always blame for the government, blame for the policy, national policy, blame for the United Nations that why there is no peace. Peace starts from here. Peace starts from every individual. It's the word santi or shanti in Hindi or in Sanskrit. But in Pali, it's a santi. Where is the santi from? It's a word from a sama root. Sama means that quiet. It means that free from mental defilement. It means that free from mental disturbances. So that is a peace. You don't have to go and search anywhere. You don't have to ask government. You don't have to ask United Nations. But you can create your own peace. So that is a peace. And then if you say all the Buddhist history here, you can even easily make that sort of a story, a peace is your own story. Instead of asking someone to get peace. Instead of giving me peace by, our deputy director is honoring me with all this police security. And then I always think myself, I am a man of peace. I'm a peaceful monk. My peace is guarded by all these guns, you see. So it is not that kind of peace. Of course, that is a peace of mind of their duty, but it doesn't, it doesn't give me peace. It doesn't worry me why I'm so dangerous man like that or not. Somebody want to hurt me, somebody want to kill me. Of course not. But this is a way sometimes we misunderstood the word peace. Most importantly, I would like to say that another word of peace from the etymological point of view is very important, and people do not understand that. The peace is another etymology is called sustainable. Peace in Buddhism is called santi, nibbanang paramang, sukhang, nibbana, something like that. Is the synonyms of the happiness, is the synonyms of the peace, is the synonyms of nirvana. So the whole idea of a dharma there is means that you have to have in things are sustainable. Sustainable means that tener, the Latin word is tener, means that uphold. And that same word in the Latin is the word, the Pali word is a dra. Dra is called the derivation of the word dharma. And dharma or tener is means that upholding. And that is the same word means that peace. So peace means that we have to uphold the normality. We have to uphold the equilibrium, the balance in our life, everything's. Even our consumptions, in our life, in our educations, in our work and life balance these days, we are talking a lot. It's all about that peace. So this is something that you can really draw just sort of imaginations, the inspirations from those Buddhist heritage. You already got it here. Talking about the harmony again. That is a very, very technical term. We use a lot in the political speeches. Peace and harmony, but doesn't mean anything. Do you know that where does harmony come from? Actually, in order to understand harmony means as what you call male, ahing, what you call it? What is in Urdu? Aham, what? Ahangi. Hangi. Yeah, that's another. This is kind of doing work together. But actually, if you really know the word, in Pali it's called samagi. It's a word sama and there's a word gama. Gama means that arrive, reach. Sama means that together. So we are trying to work together to reach some point without discordance. So the word harmony in English, again, it is more vividly, you can understand. It is a word from the musical piece, what do you call it? Harmonium. That is the word, harmony, you see? So when you play the harmonium, it makes you in tune. So another word for harmony is to do anything in tune. So you'll have a harmonium, you have a guitar, you'll have a tabla, you'll have all those things. But if they, play in the synchronized tune, that will be a very nice piece of music. And that is called the harmony, actually. That is the origin of the idea of the harmony. Same as we got a Muslim, I am a Buddhist, and we got a Christian, we got a no-religious atheist these days a lot. But imagine that we are the different pieces of musical instrument. And then let's play the song called Humanity together. And in tune, then that is what called harmony. So if you don't tune together, one's harmony is tok tak, whatever it is going on, then it's about disturbance. You can't find the harmony. Actually, harmony is something that how we work it together and then move to the idea of the reaching the same goal, understanding same thing. For the secular, from the sacred, or from the religious, whatever it is. So these are kind of things that you can really draw out from those heritage, Pakistani Buddhist heritage, or even Pakistani Gandhar heritage, or even just a Pakistani heritage, I would say that. Having said that, I think I've given a few ways to open up these topics here, but that is all I will do in this limited time. So I would say by inviting me on these occasions, tonight I'm going back to Thailand, flying my Thailand. By my task, my mission is accomplished. This is the last place I'm here in the Lahore universities. My team is already doing their job at the moment. So, hoping that with this Buddhist, Pakistani Buddhist heritage, you can play the great role in this modern world. I would say that, I don't know, you can be a hero playing the role of a mediator of peace, bringing all the stories, the examples from your heritage, and then act as a peacemaker, not as a, peace destroyer. You can be doing that from your own root, the word Islam, the heritage you got it, whatever you want to use it. So you can do that. And of course, I will say that with this Buddhist heritage, you got it. Or Pakistani heritage, you got it. Or Gandhar heritage, you got it. You can reinforce your Pakistan as a peaceful country. Pakistan as a peaceful identity. Because the effort not only boosts tourism, but also reinforce Pakistan's identity as a peace-loving nation, in line with the spiritual purity implied by the term, the word Pakistan itself. Pakistan means that one who have a spiritual purity. And then you have all this story to prove you that. So if you can bring these two together and be ambassador to present to the world that what you got it is a textbook, it is an inspiration, it is something we really need in this 21st century. It is not only the art, it is not only the religion, it's go beyond the art, it's go beyond the religions, but it reinforces as a global citizens. It reinforces us as a human who love each other, as a brother and sister, as a one family. And we can learn all the stories, how to be a good human, how to be a sustainable human, and how we can create a sustainable happiness from those heritage you own it. I think that's the only thing I can summarize and say it on this topic. Thank you very much.
I totally endorse your message on like peace and harmony, and we can always relate it to the Buddhism itself. And also, I strongly feel that even in academia, where we teach, like me being an archaeologist, I have been like reading and learning about the books that are actually based on the visual culture of like sculptural art. And also I strongly feel that there's a gap, because when the student looks at the visual culture and then they just try to interpret it, and there's a gap, like we cannot really contradict and fill the gap between the textual sources and the visual culture that we have in the museums. So eventually the research we visual culture that eventually goes into the is really